There will come a time in your life when the silence of your own heart becomes louder than the noise of the world around you, a time when the smiles of others hide their intent and their words, like daggers, are sharpened by insecurity, fear, or envy. You will stand among people who do not wish to understand you, but to shape you, bend you, or even break you. And in that moment it is not their strength you must fear. It is your own forgetfulness, forgetting who you are, forgetting what you stand for, forgetting that within you lies something far beyond their reach. To stay strong is not to resist the storm with brute force, but to become the mountain that the storm can never move. To stay strong is not about becoming harder, it is about becoming clearer, becoming lighter, becoming untouchable, not through aggression, but through deep understanding of your path. So today, I invite you to step beyond the noise and return to yourself. Because the truth is, no one can break you unless you hand them the pieces. Inner strength is built through self-awareness, not external validation. This is a truth often overlooked in a world that constantly demands our attention, our approval, and our performance. From a young age, we are conditioned to look outward, to seek praise, applause, recognition. We are taught that our value is confirmed only when someone else acknowledges it. The problem with this conditioning is that it creates a dependency, a fragile structure that can collapse the moment the external world turns its back on us. If your strength is based on someone else's opinion, what happens when that opinion changes? What happens when the crowd no longer claps? What happens when people no longer support you and instead begin to doubt, criticize, or try to bring you down? That is when true strength is tested. That is when the foundation matters. And the foundation cannot be external. The foundation must come from within. Inner strength is not something we are born with, it is something we cultivate. And the seed from which it grows is self-awareness. To be self-aware means to know who you are beyond the roles you play, beyond the achievements you collect, beyond the image you present to others. It means understanding your values, your purpose, your fears, your patterns. It means becoming familiar with your own mind, your emotions, your reactions. This self-knowledge becomes a compass that guides you when the path is unclear. It becomes an anchor when the storms of life try to pull you off course. When you are self-aware, you no longer depend on others to tell you who you are. You don't need someone to say you are strong. You feel it. You don't wait for someone to call you worthy. You know it, and this knowledge makes you powerful in a quiet, unshakable way. Self-awareness allows you to observe the world without being consumed by it. When people insult you, you can look beyond the words and understand the insecurity or pain behind them. When others try to manipulate you, you can see through the mask and stay centered. When the environment is chaotic, your internal clarity keeps you stable. This does not mean that you become cold or indifferent. On the contrary, true self-awareness brings with it compassion, but this compassion starts with yourself. You learn to forgive yourself, to encourage yourself, to respect your own limits. And from this place, you interact with the world, not to impress, not to gain approval, but simply to express what is real and meaningful to you. This type of living creates a natural confidence, not a loud or arrogant one, but a deep and calm one that others can sense even if they don't understand it. There is a discipline in developing self-awareness. It requires silence, it requires observation, it requires asking difficult questions and sitting with uncomfortable answers. It means not running from pain, but studying it, not hiding your weaknesses, but learning from them. This kind of work is invisible to the outside world. It does not bring instant gratification, but it is the work that builds unshakable inner strength, because once you understand yourself, no one can use your ignorance against you. Once you accept yourself, no one's rejection can define you, and once you trust yourself, no external chaos can destroy your inner peace. People will always try to break what they do not understand. They will challenge what threatens their comfort. Your clarity, your peace, your discipline, they may become targets in a world that thrives on distraction and confusion. But if your strength is born from deep self-awareness, you will not be moved, because you are no longer building your house on sand, but on stone. Your foundation is not the applause of others, but the quiet certainty of your own being, and this is the kind of strength that endures. Emotional control is the foundation of unshakable resilience. In moments of challenge, pain, or confrontation, it is not the external situation that truly determines our downfall or victory. It is our internal response. Many people believe that strength is about reacting quickly, fighting back, asserting dominance, or proving others wrong. But these impulses are often rooted in unexamined emotions: anger, fear, ego, pride. When these emotions govern your actions, you become reactive, and reactivity is a weakness disguised as power. True strength lies not in how loudly you respond, but in how deeply you choose not to be moved by the chaos around you. To develop emotional control is to master the self before attempting to manage anything outside the self. It requires understanding the nature of emotions, not as enemies to suppress, but as signals to observe. Emotions are messengers. They carry information about your needs, your boundaries, your values, and your wounds. But if you act on them without understanding them, they can lead you into cycles of regret, conflict, and confusion. Emotional control begins with awareness, to know when emotion is rising, to pause before it overflows, and to ask where it is truly coming from. It is not about pretending to feel nothing. It is about choosing not to let temporary emotions create permanent consequences. This level of control is not achieved overnight. It is a discipline cultivated through consistent inner work. You learn it through stillness, you learn it through breath, you learn it through reflection. It might look like silence when insulted. It might look like walking away when provoked. It might look like not answering immediately when you are angry. To many, this may appear as weakness, but in truth, it is the highest form of strength, because the person who has mastered their emotional impulses is no longer a puppet pulled by the strings of others. They are not swayed by opinion, triggered by rejection, or destabilized by confrontation. When someone tries to break you, they will not do it with force. They will do it by targeting your emotions. They will try to frustrate you, to make you angry, to create doubt, to confuse your mind so you abandon your center. If they succeed in this, they don't need to break you. You will break yourself. But if you maintain control, if you remain calm and clear while others lose their composure, their power over you dissolves. Emotional control gives you time. It gives you clarity. It gives you the advantage of choice, while others are enslaved by their reactions. Many people underestimate how much emotional instability costs them. It damages relationships, clouds judgment, wastes energy, and creates suffering where none is needed. Most arguments are not about facts. They are about feelings that were never processed. Most regrets are born not from what was felt, but from what was done under the influence of unchecked emotion. When you cultivate emotional control, you free yourself from these traps. You begin to respond, not react. You begin to see the situation, not just your projection of it. You begin to hold space for yourself without exploding or collapsing. This kind of strength can be trained. Meditation, breathwork, physical discipline, journaling, these are not spiritual luxuries, they are tools for mastery. They allow you to build the space between stimulus and response. They create a gap in which wisdom can enter. In that space, you can choose your words, your tone, your direction. And each time you do this, you grow. You become more grounded, more deliberate, more untouchable. People around you will notice even if they don't understand. Some will respect it, others will try harder to provoke it, but the outcome does not matter because your control is no longer about them, it is about you. There is a certain dignity in emotional control. It does not need to be loud. It does not seek to dominate. It is quiet, composed, precise. It sees through manipulation. It refuses to play games. It does not engage every battle. It chooses its ground. In this way, resilience is not just about surviving hardship. It is about maintaining your alignment in the face of it. Emotional control is what allows you to do this. When your emotions are not in control of you, no one else can be. When your inner state is not reactive, your outer world cannot shake you. This is where resilience is born, not in resistance, but in awareness and mastery of your emotional world. Detachment from others' opinions protects your peace and power. From the earliest stages of life, we are taught to look for signs of approval, smiles, praise, acceptance, applause. Over time, we begin to internalize a dangerous idea that our worth depends on how others see us. This creates a prison of perception where every decision is measured not by our values, but by what others might think or say. In this state, we are no longer living for ourselves. We are performing for an invisible audience. And the more we chase validation, the more we become strangers to our own truth. The power of detachment does not mean disrespect or isolation. It means freedom. It means standing rooted in your own identity, regardless of the noise around you. People will always have opinions. They will judge, criticize, misunderstand, and project their own fears onto your actions. If you allow every opinion to enter your mind like a seed, it will grow into doubt. Doubt then becomes hesitation, and hesitation weakens direction. Slowly, you lose sight of your path, but when you practice detachment, you create space. In that space, you can hear opinions without absorbing them. You can listen without reacting. You can observe without losing your balance. Detachment is not a lack of care. It is the presence of clarity. You begin to understand that not every voice deserves weight. Not every opinion is rooted in wisdom. Some speak from fear, some from jealousy, some from ignorance. You cannot control what others say, but you can control what you carry. Detachment teaches you to travel light. When you are no longer burdened by the need to please, you begin to move with more purpose. You stop asking, "What will they think of me?" and start asking, "Is this true to who I am?" That shift changes everything. To detach from others' opinions is not to become arrogant or closed-minded. It is to realize that your peace is too precious to be gambled with every comment or criticism. When you let someone's words define your mood, you give them power over your emotional state. When your confidence rises or falls based on praise or rejection, you are no longer in control. Your strength becomes conditional, but when you detach, you reclaim that control. You learn to validate yourself. You learn to measure your actions against your own values, not the shifting standards of the crowd. This is especially important when you walk a path that others do not understand. When you grow, when you change, when you step into discomfort, you may trigger others. Your discipline may reflect their laziness. Your clarity may unsettle their confusion. Your courage may threaten their comfort. They may try to diminish you, not because you are wrong, but because they are afraid of what your example represents. If you are attached to their approval, you will shrink to stay accepted. But if you are detached, you will rise without apology. Detachment also strengthens relationships. When you are not attached to being liked, you become more authentic. You stop performing and start expressing. You say what you mean, you set boundaries, you show up as your full self, not a version edited for acceptance. This honesty may repel some, but it will deepen your connection with those who value truth. You realize that not everyone needs to understand your journey. Not everyone is meant to walk with you, and that is okay. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to understand yourself. The path of detachment requires practice. It involves letting go of the desire to explain yourself to everyone. It involves accepting that silence is often the best response. It means choosing your inner peace over outer approval. It means being okay with being misunderstood. It is not easy. The ego wants to defend, the heart wants to be seen, but detachment says, "I see myself, and that is enough." And in that moment you become free. You become powerful. You become untouchable not because you don't feel, but because you no longer need to be seen in order to feel whole. Adversity is not a threat. It is a mirror that reveals your true discipline. Most people try to avoid hardship. They see pain, struggle, and resistance as things to be feared or eliminated. But in the absence of adversity, there is no growth. A life without challenge is a life without transformation. It is easy to speak of strength when everything is going well. It is easy to look composed when the path is smooth. But when the ground shakes, when life tests you, when people try to tear you down, that is when your real foundation is revealed. That is when you learn who you really are, not who you pretend to be. Discipline is often misunderstood as something rigid or forced, but true discipline is not just about routine or effort. It is about alignment with purpose. It is the decision to keep moving forward even when everything around you tries to stop you. It is the ability to act with intention when emotions want to take over. And the only way to truly know the depth of your discipline is to see how it holds up in the face of adversity. A disciplined mind is calm in chaos. A disciplined heart remains kind under pressure. A disciplined spirit does not crumble when the world pushes back. Adversity strips away illusions. It shows you where your limits truly are. It shows you what habits are real and which ones are temporary. In hardship, the mask falls off, the ego gets quiet, the truth comes forward. You discover whether your motivation is rooted in desire or in principle. You realize whether your actions are driven by outcome or by integrity. Discipline that exists only in comfort is not discipline, it is convenience. True discipline survives discomfort because it is not tied to mood or situation. It is rooted in commitment. When others try to break you, when circumstances try to shake you, they are unintentionally offering you the greatest gift, clarity. You begin to see the gaps in your mindset, the weak spots in your behavior, the areas where your discipline needs reinforcement. This is not a curse, this is a mirror, and you can either run from what you see or face it and evolve. The disciplined path is not about pretending to be perfect. It is about showing up every day to refine the parts of you that are still reactive, still afraid, still untrained. In this way, adversity becomes a necessary fire, not a fire that destroys, but one that forges. Steel does not become strong in cold air, it is shaped under heat and pressure. So are you. Each time you endure, each time you respond with patience, each time you act from discipline instead of impulse, you are sharpening your edge. You are becoming less dependent on comfort, less attached to approval, and more aligned with your deeper self. This process is not glamorous. It is often lonely. It requires repetition, humility, and resilience. But it produces something rare, an individual who cannot be broken from the outside because they are built from the inside. Many people believe that adversity makes you stronger, but it is not adversity itself. It is your response to it. The same hardship that crushes one person can elevate another. The difference is mindset, preparation, and perspective. A disciplined person sees the difficulty and does not ask why me, but rather what can I build from this? They use adversity as a tool, as a teacher. They take the pain and convert it into power. They take rejection and turn it into redirection. They take betrayal and transform it into clarity. Every wound becomes a lesson, and every lesson strengthens the foundation. This mindset removes the victim identity. It removes the need to control everything. It allows you to embrace the unknown with calmness and move through darkness with discipline. You are no longer running from challenge. You are moving through it with awareness, and through this, your confidence becomes internal. Not because everything is easy, but because you have trained yourself to remain grounded no matter how difficult things become. Discipline becomes your shield, not one that blocks the world, but one that protects your clarity in the middle of the storm. There will always be people who try to make you doubt yourself. There will always be days when the weight feels heavy, but if your discipline is true, it will carry you when motivation fades. It will guide you when emotion misleads. And it will remind you that adversity is not an enemy, it is an opportunity. It shows you not just what you're going through, but what you are growing into. In the end, strength is not found in how loudly you speak, how hard you fight, or how many people stand beside you. True strength is silent, rooted, and self-sustaining. It is built through deep self-awareness, through mastery of emotion, through the courage to detach from what does not serve your path, and through the unshakable discipline that adversity reveals. The world may try to bend you, break you, or redefine you, but none of it matters if you remain centered within yourself. You do not need to be louder. You need to be clearer. You do not need to be tougher. You need to be more aligned. Because when your strength comes from within, nothing from the outside can take it away.